It was a fountain of metaphor, of isostatic adjustments and degraded channels, of angular unconformities and shifting divides, of rootless mountains and bitter lakes, streams eroded headward, digging from two sides into mountain or hill, avidly struggling toward each other until the divide between them broke down, and the two rivers that did the breaking now became confluent, one yielding to the other, giving up its direction of flow and going the opposite way to become a single stream. This beautiful passage is from John McPhee's Annals of a Former World. And guess what the subject of this book is? It's about the geology of North America. Hi, I'm KK and I review books that have great insights for business and for life. Here are 4 things that I absolutely loved about John McPhee's book, Draft Number 4. First, the love of the craft. I have this quirk. When I read an interesting book, I actually go online, read about the author, and also read about the book and others who have reviewed the book. So I learned that McPhee has been teaching journalism at Princeton University since 1974. He's written 30 books. He's written hundreds of articles and essays. And one of his books, the one I quoted from, Annals of a Former World, took him 20 years of research, and the output was a 750-page book on the geology of North America. So what does it take for somebody to produce this kind of output over such a long period of time? Clearly, it's a deep love of the craft, a craft which he describes as masochistic, mind-fracturing, self-enslaved labor. And this love comes through so clearly in all of his writing, whether he's talking about the evolution of software in the craft of writing, or he's talking about note-taking, or he's talking about these quirky editors and fact-checkers that he's had to work with over the years. In fact, reading his book was like sitting at a calm, relaxing beach and watching a beautiful, serene sunset. And it made me think that what if we develop this kind of love for whatever craft we are engaged in, be it building a product or delivering a service or even running a business. The second interesting aspect that he highlights a lot is on structure and how important structure is in terms of putting your material together. So he gives a great example. He talks about writing as if you've gone to the grocery store, picked up a bunch of ingredients, and now you must prepare your meal based on the ingredients that you have. And the ingredients in this case are notes. And he has a very elaborate method of organizing his notes, jotting them down, putting them on a large panel of wood, and then trying to organize them based on what structure he thinks that material supports best. And also, very interestingly, structure is not just about a logical or a chronological flow of the information. Structure can be circular, structure can be all sorts of weird diagrams that he builds out. But there has to be some structure to how you arrange your material. And I think that's so important for everything that we do, right? It's not just if you're a professional writer, but even writing an email or writing a blog post or, writing the script for this kind of a video, or everything has to be built around structure. The third aspect that I loved about the book was the various tips on writing. So the reason this book is called Draft Number 4 is because McPhee says that it's only by the 4th revision of your work will you actually be satisfied with it. And it's okay to find that your first version is absolute crap. And then you give it out for review. You read it out loud. And then from the second to the third to the 4th iteration, you'll get to a version that you're actually satisfied with. And I think the same is true of even when I look at building a product or services within my company. In fact, Ed Catmull, the founder of Pixar, calls the initial description of a product or a movie ugly babies. And he says these must be protected and molded over multiple iterations till you reach a version that actually works, that meets the customer requirement, that translates to a super hit movie. The other very interesting piece he talks about is that very often writers are looking for just the right word in a particular sentence. And we have always been taught from school to go and refer to a thesaurus. So he says, no, don't look at a thesaurus. Go pick up the dictionary. Look at the definition of the word that you have chosen. And then from there, you will find better options for words that would fit in that particular context. Another interesting aspect he talks about is the lead. The lead could be the first paragraph or the first page or the first few pages of whatever writing project you have. But the lead can't be a teaser that goes nowhere. You can't show something and then tell the reader something else. So the lead has to be catchy, but it also has to be very relevant and true to your material. And again, he draws back to the importance of note taking, because he says that very often while taking his notes, he will have identified what could be a beautiful conclusion and also what could serve as a lead for his essay or his book that he's writing. The fourth most relatable point that I found in the book was that even if you love your craft, it can be a damn hard thing to do. So he talks about writer's block. He talks about his students coming to him and telling him that they're just not able to get started. He has this delightful anecdote about his daughter feeling so depressed about her writing. And then he talks about a great technique that he has. So he says, fine, you're stuck, you hate yourself, you think you'll never succeed as a writer. Get all of this emotion out in a letter to your mother. So write, dear mother, I have been trying hard to write. I'm not making much progress on this subject. After you've done with all of this whining, now go back and delete the first two sentences of that letter which you're whining to your mother. And the rest of the content is a great start for draft number 1 and get going from there. That's a very amazing insight that we all say, find your passion and your passion will take you to success. But that's not how life works, because passion will only get you started. But you have to commit to your craft. You have to stick to it, get that grit in place to get down there and do whatever it takes for you to get to the next level. So in the case of writing, it is just getting those 500,000 words down per day. Most things that you love in life are going to be difficult to get good at. So whether you write professionally or occasionally, it doesn't matter. Go read this book, because at some stage I feel that we become writers so that we can become better readers. Lastly, I'd like to leave you with these lines from the book. The creative writer leaves white space between chapters or segments of chapters. The creative reader silently articulates the unwritten thought that is present in the white space. I hope you like this review. Do put in the comments books that you've loved about writing or art in general.